Okay, welcome to the Top Trader South Africa YouTube channel. This is a segment called All Things Forex with myself and Nqobile Tembane. And today I am joined by Tumelo Mngomezulu.
Oh, hi guys.
Tumelo Mngomezulu is a Forex trader, as you guys, obviously him being on the show as well. So when did you hear about Forex for the first time?
First time I heard about Forex was 2013.
Yeah.
And that's when I jumped into it. I was still a student studying sound engineering at the Academy of Sound Engineering. And then I had a guy who stayed opposite me, and he was like, I was busy on the internet looking for like ways to make money, because you know student life, how it is, it's rough. So then this guy was like, yeah, I know a trader guy that can show you around trading. And then we went there, sat in my book that I wrote. There's actually, I've got it in the beginning there, where I explain how like I lost 50,000 rand the first time I was trading. I was a fundamental trader, so I'd always wait for news. And at the time in 2013, because there was not many people in the market in terms of like teaching and stuff, a lot of people were selling courses from, how can I say, they were reselling courses from someone, you know, and then most of the people were doing that as like fundamental trading. And yeah.
How's your journey been? Like, how did you start? Because I hear you say you blew 50,000 rand, but like, what was the process behind you actually getting started per se?
Okay, so from the very beginning, like I said, it was I had that guy who stayed opposite me. Then we went there, and the first broker I used was so there were a local broker. Went to their offices, and I mean, it's crazy then, because when I look at the industry now, or the brokerage model now versus then, when I wanted to open an account back then, minimum deposit was 5,000 rands. And like this was for any deposit, so this wasn't even like topping up your account or what, but any deposit was 5,000 rands. But then now, I mean, you go and you can even fund $5, 70 rand, so it's quite crazy. So yeah, then I opened the account like that, and then I got taught fundamentals, and yeah, had wins, losses, but eventually, with what most traders happens, the losses overtake the wins and they blow an account.
When did you make like your first withdrawal? Like, when did you actually see money from the market?
First profits were in 2016. First time I actually withdrew some money, and that's when I just came up with the strategy that I use now. And it's funny because it's so basic, but then yeah, in 2016, then I had a strategy. I called it Out of Control, and then the first time I used it, I actually turned in a week from 3,000 to 21,000. So I was just shook at that, and I was like, no, I have to withdraw this money now. So I withdrew, but I didn't withdraw all of it. I think I withdrew about like 5,000 rands from that, so like my deposit plus the extra. And then I blew that account eventually again, because I was very aggressive. But yeah, 2016 was the first time I was like, yeah, I actually got Forex cash because I'd flipped an account.
Yeah, okay, now that's great. And so are you a full-time trader, part-time trader, or how's it been?
I'm a full-time trader, but I don't really trade anymore.
Oh, okay.
So to explain that whole process, I used to trade all the time, like manually. And funny thing is, okay, so it moved from trading every day to trading certain times to only trading on Tuesdays. So I made a conscious decision that I'm only gonna trade on Tuesday, sometimes the exception of Thursday, but I'm only gonna trade Tuesday. And then if I make money, I make money. If I lose money, well, it's sad, I'll come again next week and try and make money. So yeah, so that's how I used to trade. But then now I made an expert advisor, so an automated trading thing, and basically it uses my strategy, and all I do is I put it on the charts and it's trading for me. So I don't really trade anymore. I do probably this entire year, and I mean, we in October now, and it's pretty much the end of October. I've only probably taken about 6-7 manual trades, but the rest of it has just been the robot doing my thing. So I don't really say I trade full time anymore.
Yeah.
Now I'm busy sharing Forex education and giving people like an actual solution that will work for them, because not everyone has the time to go and trade. So yeah, so that's what I do now. I'm basically working on my consulting side of the business.
And like, tell me about like the transition from manual trading to automated trading, like that whole transition.
It was crazy because I had funds, and quite a lot of funds, in manual trading, you know, and how that happened is another story on its own. But I kept on wanting to make a robot. I didn't know what to do, or how can I say, I didn't know what to expect, rather. And I did all my back testing and due diligence and just did all my homework to make sure that this thing is going to work, because it wasn't the first robot I operated, but then it was the first robot I had like made, although I'd made other versions, but then this was the one that was like, okay, this one actually works, because the other ones, they blew accounts, the other ones, they work on one pair and not another pair. So then it was just one of those. I started a $500 account, and then after that $500 account, I saw it grow, and it was growing slowly, and I was like, I can bump the risk up on this, and then I bumped up the risk on a 1,500 Rand account, and that doubled in a month. So I was like, okay, let me go and put this on other accounts, different size accounts, but then obviously reduce the risk, you know. And I guess it was one of those that at first, you know, it was very difficult to believe that every day I'd wake up and this thing was making profits. But I started getting used to it, and I started getting more funds on it, and I've seen people put lots of funds here because they also can't believe what's going on, and with the zero stress. So I asked myself, how was my life without it? Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to admit though, when it comes to trading for yourself, like manual trading, it's exciting as well. So
Yeah.
like, what's been like the difference between the automated trading and the manual trading? Doesn't it take the excitement out of trading?
Okay, not necessarily. Um, for me, I'd say because I'm at that point where I'm also trying to grow other areas of my business, even outside of the Forex industry. It's a really great, convenient thing. But yeah, manual trading is exciting. The excitement has been taken away, but then you get more excited that you're consistent on a month-to-month basis, and you did nothing. So I guess profits at the end of the day are more exciting than the whole trading process. Although the trading process I still love, it's just that I don't have the time to be doing that effectively as I would in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and going back to like trading, like in terms of types of traders there, what do you think makes a good trader?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I have my version of
Yeah.
a good trader.
Okay, what is your version of a
I'm
good
I'm
trader?
I'm my version of a good trader,
Okay.
right? And the thing is, what is a good trader?
Mm.
Is it a consistently profitable trader? Because in my mind, a good trader is a consistently profitable trader. Somebody else would be like, a good trader is somebody that can flip a lot of money. But then there's people that can flip a lot of money and then lose it all in one day. But then what makes a good trader for me is someone that is overall profitable. You know, whatever approach they have to it, whether they take small accounts and make them large accounts and withdraw, or whether they're growing on a month-to-month basis. But what makes a good trader for me is someone who can honestly say each and every month they are getting money from the industry. You know, whether they this month they go away with $50 or $50,000, that's not too important to me. But the fact that every month you can go away with money is a good trader. Yeah, no matter what the monetary value is. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about money management now. Like, what is money management, and how does one who is sitting at home now listening or watching, how do they apply money management to their life? Just a nutshell.
Okay, to their life. Well, to their life, hey man, I'm not a billionaire yet, so I can't tell you money
In terms of
management.
trading, yes.
Yeah, your life, but in terms of trading and forex, right? The most important thing when it comes to money management, is know how much you're willing to lose. Because everyone is and it happens, psychologically with traders that they'll go into a trade, right? And then now they'll start like calculating TP and say, as if it reaches my TP, I'm gonna have $80 or $20 or $200, But very few people look that, hey, if this market can go against me, I'll lose. So the first important thing when it comes to money management is knowing how much you're willing to risk there. Are you willing to risk that entire account? And it's fine risking an entire account, because there's a difference for me. There's a trading account and there's a trading capital. Now, just because I blew an account and I show you that I blew an account doesn't mean I've blown my entire trading capital. Now, it's a difference if you say you've got 10,000 all to your name to trade and then you blow that 10,000, that's a problem. But then if you have 10,000 and then you open an additional account, or you open an account with 200 Rand from that 10,000 and you blow that account, that's not a problem because you still got capital to trade with. So I think the biggest thing is pre-defining your risk. And this is something that is mentioned by Mark Douglas in Trading in the Zone, which I feel is a trader's Bible. So if there's anyone sitting there and looking for something to help them with trading, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, that is a trader's Bible right there. But basically knowing how much you're willing to lose, because once you've let go of that, nothing can take you by surprise. You won't now go and make irrational decisions and open extra trades that you shouldn't and stuff like that.
Okay, now let's talk about forex trading as a scam. Is it a scam? Because obviously you get forex trading, you get the forex business as well, and a lot of people feel like this forex trading thing is a scam.
Okay, so now here's the thing, right? Is the word scam has been like tossed around quite a lot recently. And yeah, you do have scams, and in other situation it's not really a scam, but just an unfortunate happening. So there are people who go out there and consciously say, okay, I'm gonna take your money and tell you I'm gonna trade for you, but then they don't trade for you. That's one form of what we can view as a scam, right? So that's one big thing that I tell people, that guys, never give anyone your money in this industry, because if I'm supposed to trade on your behalf, it's supposed to happen in your account. So I can't take your money unless I have a category 2 license. If you are going to give them your money, just make sure, so you can go onto the FSCA site, fsca.co.za, and there do a FAIS search, FAIS, so you can search for their regulated entities, and then just put in a person's name or the company number, or there is an FSP number that they should provide you with if they say they have a license, and then just quickly go check what categories they have. And also another thing that people like doing is applying for a license, right? They're not approved for the license, but then when you apply for a license, you get a license number. So now this person tell you, yes, I have a license number, and then when you go check that license number, it's there, but then if you check the company, is it approved yet? And most of the people will be like, it's applied. I'm not going to name a broker right now, but there is a certain broker who did that, who was like, we have an FSP license, right? But then when you went onto the site, they had only applied for the license. They weren't granted the license. So that's one big thing. So number one, with the scam, please never give people your hard-earned money unless they do have a category 2, which then there are people that have category 2s and stuff like that. Number 2 is one of the biggest things that's happening right now, and it's one that always affects the name of traders or the industry, or they see me driving a nice car and they're like, he didn't trade, he sold courses. Now it's very true. There are people who are making millions, I'm talking millions, a month just off of the retail of Forex. That time you are not profitable. That time they didn't trade in the month. That time they didn't give you a signal, right, in that month. But then they made X amount of money through selling courses. That still happens. Now the big question is that a scam if I taught you? You know, is it a scam if what I taught you isn't making you money? You come into my school and it's just a bad time. Every single trader goes through a bad time. Even on an institutional level, all traders go through that period where they're just not hot. Right? So maybe you came in on the month where I wasn't hot, but then following months I start being hot again, and it goes to what I was talking about being a good trader, being a consistent trader. And I'm not saying you should always make money or tons of money, but at least at the end of the month, if the screen is blue at the end of the month, whether it's with 1 cent or 100,000 USD, whatever, right? So that's another thing. And then usually what happens, which is number two, where people are really not good traders, but then somehow they had access to whatever lavish lifestyle there, and then they posted that, and then they started making money off of selling the courses and stuff like that. So when people talk about those two things, about giving people money and also the schools things, that's where it's a little bit deep. And that's why I always tell people, you know, and whoever wants to buy my system, I always show them full history. So I'm never posting screenshots. Personally, I'm not about screenshots. I have on one day funded 2 accounts, 3,000 each. One of them blew, one of them became 25K, right? So now I go to social media, I post a 25K one with a 3K deposit. Now you think, oh, that guy's a Forex god, and then you take your only 3K, put it in there, and what? You blow the account. And I don't tell you that, hey, dude, actually, I blew another $3,000 account. That's why whenever I make a lot of money, I've made quite a lot of money in a short space of time off of trading, but then I never tell people when I do that. It's really tricky, and I tell people that, hey, look, just ask for account history. Like, I can, wherever I am, if somebody stops me, I can confidently go and show you an account that has been running for 3 months, an account that has been running for 6 months, show you the different currency pairs, show you the different currency pairs, show you all the history, go through all of that to show you that I just didn't have a hot month. No, this thing that I'm pushing now is consistently profitable. And I'm not saying to you that I'm going to make you a tons load of money. All right, I'm not saying that I can make you a whole lot of money, but then what I'm saying is that at the end of the month, you will always have profit. So whether that profit is 200 Rand or 200,000 Rand, but at the end of the month, you always have profits. And that, for me, is what would start revolutionizing the Forex industry and taking away the scam, is if we can have more people that are transparent with showing people like results and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that, hey, you're a big trader, now you have to show us big accounts. No, man, opening an account for 1,500 and then showing me like for 3 months that, hey, you can do that, that's impressive, you know. That's why I'm like, it's not, when I view Forex, I don't view the profit, I view the percentage, you know, and what it is at the end of the day, and how it works out for me and my or for me and my trading. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No
The
problem.
thing is the scam one. It's a very close one to me,
Yeah.
and I personally hate it. So that's why I've even went on to like doing free Forex education, you
Yeah.
know, because people are paying like ridiculous monies just to not end up knowing something that can like make them money. They went to a class, but then 3 months later,
Yeah.
they still haven't had their first Forex withdrawal.
Yeah.
Unlike what's going on now, I know that each and every client that's going to come, at least I know that at the end of the month, they can have that withdrawal, whether it's a 50 Rand withdrawal or a bigger amount. But
What has been your most memorable moment in the market, or your best trade, or your favorite trade per se, that you will never forget?
Yo, I have two. I have two. Actually, I have three, right? One, I was still an amateur, but I knew what I was doing. Brexit.
Mm.
Brexit night, I don't know how it happened, but pips wise, right? I collected the most pips ever in my trading career on Brexit night. I made money on Brexit night. I know people who blew, but I made money on Brexit night, and that to date is the most maddest thing I've ever seen in the charts. Second one would have to be um, so I had a crazy thing with Bitcoin, and I'd always make money then. And I think, yeah. So there was just a week before the final Bitcoin high, right, of like $19,000. On that week, actually, they closed Bitcoin, and on that week, I managed to then make 100,000 I want to say 100,000 ZAR, but then under one trade there was like about 70K that was made. So Litecoin, and it was on Litecoin, so I wasn't trading Bitcoin because Bitcoin had been closed. But Litecoin, I remember I made a whole lot of money from that. I made money from all the other cryptos, but then Litecoin was the craziest. So I still love Litecoin for that, and I still traded because of that. Another memorable trade was putting in 45 lots in a day. And I ended up making 60K that day.
And on the other side of the spectrum, in terms of your biggest loss that you can remember, or you don't need to give all the details for that.
Hey, me, I'm open.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
if you're gonna be a trader, transparent.
Yeah.
Damn, losses. I got big losses. I got losses that I remember. Can't forget a loss. I think the most shocking loss of my life. The most shocking big loss of my life, first big loss of my life, was a 22K loss, and it was a Euro JPY sell. But I was putting in hella lots, like I was putting in two lots, and I lost about 20K, but I didn't blow the account completely, but it took a hard hit. But my biggest loss, my gosh, to date was this year. Last month actually in September, I took about 250K knock. Yeah, because I had one account that was like 120 negative, and then I had another account that was like 90K negative. So then other smaller accounts.
No, thank you very much for coming today. So just to end it off, do you have any advice for people listening and watching at home right now that you can give them, like maybe as somebody who's starting out in Forex, like advice of in which direction they can go in?
One of them, we mentioned them, predefine your risk. Always know how much you're prepared to lose and don't go beyond that. Number two, don't receive social pressures, you know, and this, like, it's not even about Forex, you know, just like wherever, just don't like take out or just don't consume all the social pressures out there, you know, because you don't know how that other Forex trader is getting to drive his BMW, or you don't know how that other person is driving a GTI, but then the guy doesn't work, you know, and he's a guy that doesn't even trade. So that's why I'm like, just let alone in Forex, but don't let the personal stuff get to you. And be patient. If you want to be really consistent in this and actually make this true and not what's been going on, especially in the South African industry, but like make it true and you actually make a living from this, be patient. So, I mean, making $50 a month is better than making no dollars. So stick to your lane and always know that, okay, always have a plan and of how you're going to do everything. Have a very realistic plan. It's good. And I also encourage, think of all the crazy stuff in Forex that like you can do. Like, you know that if I put in so many lots and I did this consistently, I'd have 1 million. Always have those thoughts. Always keep yourself motivated, but never now go be very unrealistic, especially now once you're in a trade. So yeah, I'd say have realistic goals, set realistic goals, and work according to those realistic goals before you go and do stupid stuff as in USD. So yeah, patience.
Okay, no, thank you very much for joining us today, Scooby.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
no, thank you guys very much for watching. This is Top Trader South Africa, and this is a segment called All Things Forex.